Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about church and politics because there is not enough Christians that are getting into this world of politics, and it's a mistake that they're not because politics directly affects how the church is able to operate in today's day and age. Because we are in a time, this election season is one of the most important election seasons we've had in decades, especially in regards to the church. And the excuse I keep hearing from a lot of these leaders and pastors is that Jesus was never into politics, or the Bible doesn't necessarily say that we have to be in politics, that we are of another world, and that we should focus on being a part of that other world, citizens of the kingdom of heaven. But what they fail to realize is that the whole Bible, all the old prophets, Old Testament prophets, Elijah, Daniel, all of them were involved in politics. All their stories were based around politics. Even and also the lie that Jesus wasn't involved in politics, he was. He was heavily involved against the Pharisees and Sadducees. And who were they? They were the political leaders of Israel at that time. So yes, Jesus was involved in politics.
hmm Yeah. In Genesis, he gave us dominion over the earth. He told us to take dominion over this earth. He told us to have government over this earth, to lead. And so there's so many. We're supposed to be involved in the social issues of our day. We're supposed to be involved as leaders and as influences in the natural world. We are of another world. We're of another kingdom, but we're also citizens here. So we have dual citizenship. So the values and the standards and the things that are of our other citizenship in heaven, we should be bringing down and implementing here in the earth, in this realm, in this reality. So it's just like we put it as like this ethereal thing, and that it's just something we're supposed to be doing in prayer, which yes, we should be praying and we should be fasting and we should be doing all of the spiritual principles that are needed and that are necessary, that are commanded of us. But we should also be putting hands and feet here in the earth and being a voice here in the earth as well.
Exactly. And it's crazy because most people don't can't seem to put the two together. Right now, there's legislation that is being pushed by the Democrats, that are will bring persecution to the church. Again, I've said this before, but Beto O'Rourke said in his candidacy run that if churches do not support same-sex marriage, that they will take away their non-exempt tax status. That's literally taking money out of the church, hindering churches from putting money in programs that literally help lead many multitudes of people into the kingdom of God. And when he said that, all the Democrats in that room cheered. There wasn't one boo, one negative reaction to that at all. And not only that, but Democrats, Joe Biden has plans that if you don't recognize a child by their appropriate gender, so if a man says, I'm a female, and a woman says, I'm a male, and if you don't recognize them as their identity and you don't allow them to go to the opposite sex bathroom and participate in opposite sex sports, then it will be designated almost as a hate crime. So if you teach a biblical definition of gender in the Bible, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, if you preach that, you are technically committing a hate crime. I mean, that's where it's gonna go. That's the direction all this is going. The equality acts that they're trying to push forward is all about redefining the ideas of gender, of biology. It's anti-truth, it's anti-science, and it's anti-Bible. All of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just it's insane. It's clearly I hate to use that word, but it's clear. It's demonic. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. I'm not trying to sound like some cuckoo, but it really is demonic, and will have a direct effect for the church in this generation and generations to come. The people who sued the Christian baker because he didn't want to make a cake for same-sex marriage, these were Democrat governors. These were Democrat people. The persecution will come from legislation, and it is coming from the Democratic Party. And that's why it's so important that you vote for Trump, that you vote for Republicans, because these Democrat policies are against everything that we deem as biblical values.
Mm-hmm. And something else that I hear a lot of people in the church saying is that this earth is ruled by Satan, and we know that it's going to be dark here, and that it's going to get dark, and that evil is prevailing here. We know that. And so basically, essentially, they're saying we know that, so we just need to just be in prayer and wait until Jesus comes back for us. But we know that the earth is dark, and we know that evil is prevailing here, but that doesn't mean we just be quiet and let it. We are supposed to be salt and light here, and when evil and when lies and all of that is prevailing, we're supposed to be speaking truth. We're supposed to be shining light on the dark issues and the dark areas that are happening in society. We are supposed to be leading. Like, this earth doesn't belong to Satan. It was given to us, dominion, us to take dominion and to rule and influence in this earth, and influence the nations, influence people. We should be involved in all of these issues. We shouldn't just be waiting for another day.
Exactly. We shouldn't. We're called to be ambassadors and colonizers of the kingdom in this reality. We're supposed to make this realm an image, a shadow of the kingdom of heaven. That includes kingdom laws, kingdom culture, kingdom movies, kingdom music, all of the above. We're supposed to take over all those mountains, especially if we claim to have the ultimate truth living within us.
Yes.
And I just like again, and we want to go back to the point. I want to go back to the point where we're not voting for Trump. We're voting for the laws. We're voting for the legislation that line up with biblical value. Because most people don't understand is that we're fighting against principalities. We're fighting against rulers of darkness. We're fighting against chief demons. And you got to understand, the word principality, it says we're called to cast down rulers of darkness and principalities. The root word of principality comes from principle. And do you know what principle means? Principle means a law. That's what a principle, definition of principle is. It's a law that has a wide effect. That's what the definition of principle is. So we're literally going against laws. We're literally against legislation that has demonic forces behind it that will persecute the church, that will persecute our ability to be Christians the way we're called to be Christians. And that's where the battle is. It's against the laws. When Esther was fighting for the Jewish right to live, she was fighting against the law. She was trying to convince the king that this law was hurting Jews, the people of God. And that when Daniel was fasting for 21 days, and Michael, the archangel, had to fight an angel for 21 days just to get to Daniel, Daniel was fasting about a law that would persecute Christians. All these Old Testament prophets, they were fighting against laws, legislations, and regimes that were against the people of God. So that's why it's so important that we vote and that we get involved in politics, because there is literal principalities that are in laws, that are in behind the legislation that these Democrats are pushing, and the power behind it is demonic, it's chief demons, it's rulers of darkness. And just a lot of Christians are just walking around with their head in the sand, not realizing the importance of this hour, that there's literally attack laws that are coming against them and their children.
Yes.
And they're just like, well, we shouldn't get involved in politics and the world's affairs. We are. That's the reason why God put Adam and Eve in this planet, is so that we could make the whole earth in the kingdom of heaven, so we could expand the territory of heaven in this planet. That's the whole purpose, one of the biggest purposes and mandates of why we are in this planet in the first place. So yeah, that's what we want to say. It is very important. It is almost an obligation at this point as Christians for you to get involved with the affairs in this world and speaking truth and shine like a city on a hill to expose the darkness and bring the kingdom of heaven in this planet. Yes. That's all we wanted to say. Talk to you guys later.